The second thing we have to absolutely address, and it will take so long before you get anywhere with it, is lying. Lying, man. Kids lie. And they will convince themselves that they didn't. They will, I didn't say that, I didn't say it, I never said that. I swear, you said it to me. I was there. I didn't. I recorded it. Here's the video. I didn't say it. I swear I didn't. They'll watch the video and say I didn't do it. They did not. They somehow convinced themselves. You know why that happens? It happens because the first time they lied, and they actually admitted that they lied. Oh, ho, 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 ka'annahu yawmul qiyamati. Like, you lie in my house? So now, first you said, please tell me the truth. What did you actually say? And they finally said it, and then you came down with the axe. So the next time, like, I will take all of this. But once I admit that I lied, I know what comes next. You know, I am not doing that again. I am not admitting to this crime again. Because pleading guilty in this house does not work out for you. You got to stop that first. You cannot punish. You cannot punish extra for something that happened that's already made you angry. So the mother is angry because the child lied. Or because the child did something bad. Then she's angry because he lied about it. Then she's angry because she's like, tell me the truth, I'm giving you one last chance. One last chance. I'm going to ask you one last time, even though she's going to ask 6 more times. But she says one last time, tell me, and this is the only time I'm going to ask. I'm not going to ask again. Did you do it? No. Okay, I'm going to ask one last time. Before I tell your father, one more time. I didn't do it, I didn't do it, I didn't. And he'll go to bed, he'll cry, he'll wake up, I didn't do it, I didn't do it. He'll stick to it. And you're like, how do I deal with this? And you say, I know you did it. I know you did it. You're making me even more angry. And you get angry, and he gets more defensive. And you get angry, and he gets more defensive. And you, at the end of the day, you start pulling out your hair, and you're like, I don't know what to, and the husband comes home, I don't know what to do with this one. He lied. And you're like, you lied? No, it starts over again. How do we have to deal with this? We have to take those situations, and sometimes you just believe them, even though you know they're lying. I believe you because I trust you. You wouldn't lie to me. You promised last time you wouldn't lie, so I trust you. And the other kid's like, but I trust him. You're fine. You're not in trouble. And let him get away with a lie 3 or 4 times. Guess what's going to happen? Children are not inherently evil. Children are inherently good. Their nature is goodness. So when they do something bad and you don't punish them for it, then they have an opportunity to ask their conscience. If you punish them for it, their conscience was not bothered because they already got punished for it. When they get punished for it, they don't feel bad because they did something bad and they paid for it. There's no conscience. But if you don't punish them once in a while, I said pick your battles. You don't have to get them for every time. Pick your battles and say, okay, I trust you. You didn't do it. I know she must have got it wrong. She must not have remembered properly. When you slapped her, she must have been sleeping and imagining it. The mark on her face, I don't know, is red coloring. I don't know what it is. Doesn't even look like your hand. Looks more like a foot. You know, so it's okay. You're not in trouble. You know what that does over time? Mama, I want to tell you something. I did do it. And then you come and you console and you say, it's okay. It's okay. I still trust you. I still trust you. And what you've done is you've taken the child away from being defensive. You know? But it takes a little bit of long-term thinking to be able to do that. You won't be able to do that the first time. Like first, it's very hard to forgive those kinds of things, right? Especially if they hurt another child. If they wrong somebody else. It's hard. And you have to take that other child and take them to a corner and say, Beta, I know, I trust you too. I'm not angry at you either. And I know they did something wrong. But you don't have to be happy if they get punished. That's the other thing. One child gets happiness only when the other one gets punished. And they get so used to Abba. She pulled my ear the other day. They just came back from Scotland, my family. And when the little one came to me and said, you know, Api, She pulled my ear one day. I was like, when? I don't know. One of the yesterdays. I was like, what do you want me to do? He goes, punish her. I was like, will that make you happy? Sometimes kids do that. They get a kick out of the other one getting punished. They do. You don't want to create that either. With little kids, with the 2-year-old, it's okay. You want to entertain them. So you bring the older one and you slap your own arm a couple of times and you tell her to say, ow. You know, and she says, ow, ow, it hurts. And then, you happy now, Walid? Yeah. That's cool. But with older kids, when they get happy when the other one gets punished, that's a problem. That's a punishable offense. That itself is a punishable offense. Why are you happy? What do you get out of that? You know? That's something we have to address with our children. There are 2 things so far. Tantrums, lying. And lying, it's a long-term process. You don't get lying out of somebody's system right away. Especially because they don't even see it as lying anymore. They just see it as saving themselves. And kids, when they lie a lot, you know what happens? They actually start believing it themselves. They become better than any actor you have ever seen. They take on the role, boy. They will own it. And so you become extremely dumbfounded. Where do you even begin? Well, begin by not tackling it. Begin by disarming, taking the fear away. That's the second thing, right? So the third thing I wanted to highlight is when children are only happy, and I kind of alluded to this now, when children are only happy when the other one loses something. Or when the other one got punished or something.
And I've said this many times before, when the Quran talks about role model fathers, it keeps going back to Yaqub alayhi salam. Yaqub alayhi salam is highlighted as a model for fathers and how you're supposed to be with your children. And yet, even in that amazing, beautiful household, that is 3 generations of prophets. Ibrahim alayhi salam, Ishaq alayhi salam, Yaqub alayhi salam, and then their sibling Yusuf alayhi salam. 4th generation too. Even in that household, trouble makes its way as a result of what? Jealousy. Between siblings. Sibling rivalry, they call it nowadays, right? Now tell me this. I mean, how many of you have siblings, by the way, just so I know who I'm talking to? Okay, mashallah. We're Muslims. Pretty much all of us have siblings. We don't do single child. That's just not our style. You know? Only one? Aren't you bored? You know? So, as our children are coming up, and as I came up, and as you come up, sometimes dad gets angry at you. First thing that goes in your head, how come he doesn't get mad at him? How come he's always picking on me? How come my mom keeps telling me, why can't you be more like your sister? I hate her. And now I hate her even more because mom wants me to be like her. I can't stand her. And that rivalry grows, and and you have friends, as you grow older, you have friends outside, and your sister walks into the room and you say, get out of here! These are my friends. You can't have any of those. And then when your friends leave the house, you say, were you talking to my friend? Don't talk to my friends. You know what's going to happen? I'm talking to my friends, right? Rivalry between sisters. Rivalries between brothers. You know? Always fighting over stuff. Yo, bro, that's my shirt. What? You always do that. I hate that. And you're just beating each other up. And then, of course, dad comes in, and because we are, mashallah, Muslim fathers are awesome. They'll do one of 2 things. One, they'll punish the guy closest to them. Right? That's one justice system in the Muslim. Hey, come here. That's one. And two, this is also a pretty amazing, no, we should have equal rights. So let's gather the entire extended family and punish all of them. Because, right? And as you're all getting punished, you blame that one. It's because of his. I can't stand him. As you know, in childhood, these things are funny, but they grow and they grow and they grow. And eventually, you're going to have a family of your own. And you're not going to be calling your brother or your sister because of some things that would be brewing for a very, very long time. I tell you now, as a matter of fact, I think one of the people that understands me better than anybody else, I can talk to her When I can't talk to, even my mom I can't talk to sometimes about some things, my wife, nobody will understand like my older sister. And she's very different from me. We're like polar opposites. We get on each other's nerves, we do. But when it comes to certain things, I know the only one that will understand what I'm saying is her. And she knows the only one that will understand what she's saying is me. So we call each other and talk about that stuff. You know, siblings have to have a lot of love for each other. And it's amazing, you know, some things Allah put inside of us. You'll be beating each other to death at home. Like, you two guys are just pounding each other. And then you go to school and somebody says something about your little brother. You go, what you say about my brother? That's my brother. I get to punch him in the face. You don't even, you know. You don't talk to my brother like that. You know, you're so protective of him on the outside. It's time to start being protective of your siblings inside the home too. They have to be your best friends. Fighting's gonna happen, it's inevitable. But jealousy should never be there. A little bit of a quarrel here and there, that's a natural part of growing up. There's nothing wrong with it. I don't say there's anything wrong with it, you know? But there has to be a healthy atmosphere. A lot of you parents are worried because you're noticing your siblings, all they do when they talk is they fight. Every time they interact, they're upset with each other, you know? And they don't want the other to be around. And with girls, it's even more complicated. It's really complicated with girls. My girls will tell me, Abba, she looked at me. Okay, calm down. Hey, don't look at her. I wasn't looking at her. So complicated. She always says I'm looking at her. You know, but to some level this is natural, but at another level, you know what happens? Mom loves her more, mom loves him more, dad always praises him and always puts me down. My failures are a result of the love I don't get. I'm messed up because of that guy. You know, my little brother went to med school and I'm still like, you know, super duper awesome senior. And, you know, trying to figure out what major I'll be. I'm 28 years old. I'm like, I'm not sure what you know. I met those guys. I met those 28, 29-year-olds. So, you been in college? Yeah, alhamdulillah. So what's your major? I don't know. I decided to change it. How many times, bro? You know, and then if you get deep into a conversation, you know, my brother, he's really smart and, you know, Allah gave him the good genes. Apparently he gave you a jinn. He gave him genes, right? Right? Don't blame your inadequacy on somebody else. And the easiest target is your sibling or your parent. My parents didn't give me enough love. They didn't do this for me. They didn't do that for me. Stop blaming others. Al-ma'adhiru makadhib. Excuses are nothing but lies.
Now let me talk to the sisters for a little bit. Sisters, you're stuck with your husband. Stop being angry. Accept it. And try to love your husband. Try to make your husband happy. Because believe me, if he gets even a little bit happy, you will be really happy. I'm telling you, right now you say, I'm angry, why should he be happy? I know you, I know. I've talked to enough of you, I know. He doesn't care about me, why should I care about him? And he thinks the same thing. She doesn't care about me, why should I care about her? You start. You be nice to him. You smile at him and he'll get all shocked, like, why are you smiling? What? Is everything okay? You know, is your mother here? Is that what, you know? You know? You have to be nice to your husband. Don't dress up when you go to a wedding. Dress up for your husband. Even if you have 4 kids, it doesn't matter. Dress up for your husband. There's enough shaitan and fitna outside. So your husband should find beauty in you, not anywhere else. You should compliment your wife. You should say nice things to your wife. You shouldn't just always complain. Where are the keys? Where's the mail? Did you get the groceries? Did you do this? Oh, you didn't do anything. Oh, you don't listen to me. Stop, man. There's not enough salt. There's too much salt. There's not enough sugar. There's too much sugar. There's not hot enough. It's too hot. Stop. Say nice things to your wife. And I know if you're like Indian, Pakistani, then it's very difficult for you. I know. It's very hard to say nice things to your wife. In our culture, if you say nice things to your wife, your ribs hurt. Like, You know, so you have to immediately follow it up with something mean. You have to say something bad right after to balance the equation. You can't just say nice things. So if the food is really good, you're like, oh, aaj to bada acha khana banaya, but I still hate your mother. It's like something. You have to, you have to add something, you know. But don't try to be, this is the dua. We are asking Allah to give us so much happiness from our wife and our husband and our children that it makes us want to cry out of joy. How will that happen? You cannot ask Allah for something and not make any effort yourself. It doesn't work that way. You cannot say, Rabbi ja'alni muqim as-salati. Ya Allah, make me establisher of the prayer. And you're sitting, lying down in bed, adhan's going on, you're like, Rabbi ja'alni muqim as-salati. Allah is not going to send you angels that carry you and lift you to the salat and then they make you make ruku and get you back up. You got to get up yourself, man. You make dua and you make some effort yourself. You're not going to make dua and all of a sudden your wife will start loving you. No, you have to show her love too. You have to do that. You have to make some effort in the house. I am telling you, this is the work of the ummah today. Fixing the family. Fixing the family. And when our children see that the husband and wife are fighting with each other, they slip through the cracks. So they get in trouble with the mother, they run to the father. When they get in trouble with the father, they run to the mother. And they know they can do whatever they want that way. Because they know father and mother don't like each other. When father and mother are a team, oh man, then they got nowhere to go. You go to mom, mom's like, okay, hold on, let me call your dad, let's talk about this together. Oh, no. I was hoping we could discuss this by ourselves without getting father involved. No. You know, this is hablana min azwajina wa dhurriyatina qurrata a'yun. And why should we do this? Why should I care so much about raising a good family, being a good husband? Wallahi, when you're a good husband, your son will be a good husband. When you're a good wife, your daughter will be a good wife. Sisters, this is and if you're not, then you will create bad families down in the future. And you will be the fault. You will be the reason. So we say, وَجْعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا. Make us imam, make us leaders over people that have taqwa. In other words, everybody who has a household is an imam. You have an imam of the masjid. You have an imam of, the musalla. But every house has an imam. You're the imam of your house. I don't care if you have a beard or not. You're the imam of your house. I don't care if you memorize Quran or not. You're the imam of your house. And you want to make sure that your household, that you are imam over, these people are muttaqeen. The last thing I want to share with you about these requirements is why. Why did Allah say, وَجْعَلْنَا لِلْمُتَّقِينَ إِمَامًا? On Judgment Day, when I stand in front of Allah as an imam over my 6 children and my wife, when I am imam over them, they will be tied to me. And if I didn't do my job with them, and they made mistakes because of me, their mistakes will also cost me. I will be dragged down with them. But if I raised my children correctly, and I did good with them, and they went on to serve Allah's deen, and become good people, earn good deeds, then Allah raises them. And when He raises them, automatically, because I'm chained to them, He raises me. We ask Allah to be with Imam over muttaqeen. Because we ask that because we need it on Judgment Day. My deeds are not enough. I'm going to need commission from my children and their children and their children and their children.
And they guard their privates, which actually means they guard their shame. Because when you work for Islam and you have a sense of purpose, there's one thing that you cannot undistract yourself from, and that is temptation. That is attraction to the opposite gender. It's impossible for you to undo that. So Allah says they take extra precaution to be decent and moral and mindful and protective of their own dignity when they engage in the work. MSA students, when you engage in MSA work, mind yourself. Don't be too chummy with the brothers. Don't be too friendly with them. Don't do that. You have a higher purpose. You're distracting yourself. This is not right. She is somebody's future wife. You're like, well, what about me? Well, how many are you going to say that about, man? Every 10 minutes, that one could work. No. You also, stop making small talk. Have a sense of purpose. Islam doesn't let you become like this. It doesn't let you have frivolous interactions. Not because in and of themselves they are evil and they lead to evil, that's true, but actually because you have something much more important to do. You don't have time for that. There are schools where boys and girls, there's co-ed schools in America where there's no dating. Non-Muslim schools, there's no dating. You know why? Because the academic standards are so high and they keep them so busy that they don't even have time. They're so stressed with their studies. They don't have time for that stuff. They don't take off for Valentine's Day. They don't do that stuff. The fact that you're engaged in something like that, or you're spending a little too much time looking at pictures on Facebook, or becoming somebody's friend, or commenting this and that, you know what that means? You just haven't found purpose yet. That's what that means. Forget halal and haram. I'm not even here to talk to you about that. I'm here to talk to you about you're on a mission, or forgetting you're on a mission.
I bring up Surah Yusuf because at a young age he's already showing respect and open communication. That's critical for both parent and child. How many of us are having dinner every night with our children? And when you do sit and have dinner, how many of us are actually talking to our kids? Actually talking to our kids. In the age of cell phones and texting and all this other stuff and cognitive dissonance, you can't even carry a real conversation with another human being, let alone your children. And alhamdulillah, I have 3 girls. 2 of them were going to school up until last year. Now all 3 of them go to school. And I used to pick them up from their school. Do you know how much girls talk? It's Energizer Bunny's got nothing on girls. They could talk and talk and talk and talk. You could fall asleep, you wake up, they're still talking to you. They're still talking to you. They don't stop. And so I'm picking them up from school, and Waliya starts telling me, how about, what happened today? My hair clip fell out. My hair clip, the purple one fell out, but the pink one was still there. When the purple one fell out, my friend said, hey, your purple one fell down. Pick it up. So I picked it up. I said, it's a little dirty. It's not that dirty. Then I cleaned it up a little bit. When I put it back on, I didn't get on the right way. So I took the purple one off and the pink one off too. And then my friend helped me put it back on. And you know what I should do at this point? I should say, yeah. Like I'm totally zoned out, not listening. But actually, I have to make it a conscious effort to actually listen and say, so what happened to the pink one then? What about the purple? I have to actually listen. Because and if you're not listening, your kids know. Your kids know. Especially girls, they're really sharp. They pick it up. Like I said, blah, 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 and you're going to say, they'll throw in, can I have $50? It's happened to me. I've caught myself. Right? It'll happen. It'll happen. But we have to become good listeners, especially the fathers. Especially the fathers. The moms naturally, Allah has given them certain gifts. Like parenting comes more naturally to a mother. Allah has given her that gift. He just makes her nurturing, soft, caring, concerned, just naturally. Fathers have to work on it. You're sitting at home, your child falls down. Who gets up immediately? Who does that? The father? The father's sitting there, pick yourself up, child. In Urdu, say, kuch nahi hua. Chalo, go back there. Dust it off. Nothing. That's nothing. Don't worry about it. Just a little bit of blood. The mom will go crazy. It's natural to her. I'm telling the fathers here, if we want our children to be raised in Islam, the first thing we need to be is their best friend. And that takes work. It takes serious work. Parents here, fathers here, you guys have to get in shape. I'm serious. You have to get in shape. Not for yourself, for your kids. You come home, your kids want to play with you, and you just, Abba, pick me up, throw me around, do this, you do a little bit of that, and you're like, Abba's got to lie down, hold on. That's not how you raise kids. Taking our kids hiking, playing sports with them, taking them to the backyard. Even if they're playing video games, play video games with them. Play with them. Play the Wii with them. Bowl with them. I don't care. Just do stuff with your kids. It's a critical part of opening barriers. So they can talk to you about anything. Because I'm telling you, when they reach a certain age, the need to talk to someone will always be there. You would rather that person be you, not some non-Muslim friend who will give non-Muslim kind of advice.
What is the solution for brothers and sisters that have haram relationships? The solution is to have halal. Solution. Dude. Okay, I'll just be upfront with you. This is not a relationship session, but I'll just say a one-liner. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. If you like the girl and you're talking to her and you feel bad about it, if you don't have the guts to go talk to her father about it, leave it alone and walk away. But if you really love her, then you'll man up, and you'll tell your parents, and you'll tell her parents, and it's a yay or a nay, and you move on with life. Don't string her along and ruin her life and your own. Don't do that to yourself. Don't do that to her. If you love her, then you wouldn't want to cause her that kind of suffering later on and that humiliation to her family. So please man up. Okay. Don't text him right now. You heard that? Okay, so yeah, you guys, weird relationship problems, man. This guy just called me randomly, brother, there's this girl in college, I really love her. Okay, now what? I want to marry her. Okay, but the other day she told me that she's considering someone. What should I do? I'm so sad. Okay, she's considering someone, so what? If it works out, it works out. Good for her. If not, then are you ready to talk to your parents? No, they'll kill me. Then go in a corner and cry, and when you're ready to grow up, and then call me back. You can't even talk to your parents about it. You're crying, you mean?
And you know, as a Muslim father, you have to kind of get trained into calming down. We don't have that training. We actually have quite the opposite training. Interestingly enough, the words that come out of Yusuf alayhi salam's mouth, they begin with Ya Abati. So he's about to tell his dad the dream, and he uses the words Ya Abati. Now in Arabic, if you say Ya Abi, it's a sign of you're addressing your father. When you say Ya Abati and you add that ta that you hear, it's a show of respect. Oh, my noble father, my respected father, my beloved father, Dad, I love you. It's like these terms of respect have been added just by that ta when he addresses his dad. What we're learning is not only is his child ready to communicate with him at any point, at the same time he's also extremely respectful. And that's at the same time it's a compliment to the child, but at the same time it's a compliment to the father. What kind of father communicates openly with his child and at the same time maintains a relationship of respect? Because you know, when you get very frank with kids, what happens? They run all over you. They'll run all over you and they become too casual. And then you have to become strict because you say, I should be strict because that way they'll show me respect. If you come from where I come from, Pakistan, there's one way to get respect. If you're a father, be as harsh and as mean, as nasty as you possibly can be, and that is the way you get respect. You never hear your name said nicely. If your name is Abdullah, you don't never hear dad say, Abdullah, could you come here? Abdullah! And you better show up looking all scared. You can't smile. If you're smiling at your dad, you're like, what? What is this? What are you looking at? Being angry, whether you're, and by the way, this isn't just for Pakistanis, even though we're awesome at it. Right? It's parents all over. Muslim parents are generally very harsh. And they think that's what you're supposed to be. You're supposed to be disciplinaries. Especially the father should be tough. So when he walks into the house, there should be absolute silence. Everybody should drop what they're doing. Dad's here. You know? Like everything's going well in the house, everybody's playing around, things are happening, and Dad's in the driveway. Huh. Sit still. Don't look around. You know, there's that culture. What Yaqub alayhi salam is teaching us is the opposite. This child is most comfortable talking to his father. Even about a dream. Even about a dream. And when he addresses him, he commands this respect. What I'm trying to get at is, we thought the formula for getting respect from your kids is being harsh and mean. Being loud. Being scary. That would be the way I will get the respect of my kids. Maybe that worked in Pakistan. Maybe that worked in Cairo. Maybe that worked in Palestine. Maybe that worked in Syria and in Bangladesh. It ain't working here. This here is America. It ain't working here. And you've already tried it and it hasn't worked. And then you come to the Imam and say, my teenage boy doesn't listen to me. What should I do? What you should do is realize where you live. First of all, seriously.
You're not in a culture, you're in a culture where your kids go to school. Your kids go to school and they go with other non-Muslim children who, when they address their mom, they don't say mom, they say, Samantha, come here. That's what they do. It's normal for them. That's normal for them. And your kids go to school with other children who, when they're talking about their father, say, my dad, man, he's so weird. That's the nicest thing they'll say, by the way. That's not the bad stuff yet. And kids talk about their parents just like they're talking about some idiot. Seriously, that's what they hear all the time. And then you have our children, the parents here, many of you have funny accents, at least to your kids. It sounds funny, it sounds weird, And we're trained in a culture to constantly make fun of other people. We're just trained that way. So guess what? If you're an easy target, your kids behind your back are even making fun of you. There's no respect, is what I'm trying to say. And your idea and my idea was, if we're extra harsh, we'll get their respect. No. If you're open, if you're a genuine friend to your children, if you're a source of nurturing and protection for them, you will have their respect like nothing else will gain it. And you will maintain a communication with them that otherwise cannot be. Parents of teenagers come to me all. I have my son. He just doesn't listen to me anymore. Can you talk to him? Like, I have some prescription drug that I carry with me. That Oh, you know what it is? The son comes over. I'm gonna be like, and all of a sudden he'll be this amazing kid. But if you just talk to him, no. What if you talk to him? And where were you when there was time to talk to him? Let me tell you something I'm going to talk about parents first a little bit, then I'll talk about couples, and that's the only time we have. Two things. Two kinds of fundamental relationships: your relationship with your children and your relationship with your spouse. So we'll talk about some very basic things in regards to both. When your children are when they're 5, 6, 7, 2, 3, 4, you know what the most important thing is? I have 5 of those, I could tell you. The most important thing to them is your approval. They want to make you proud, man. They want to show you what they did. I'll be on an important work phone call, and my son will come over, my 2-year-old will come over. Abba. I'm like, okay, hold on. What is it? Nothing. I'll go back on the phone and he'll start calling me again. I'll be like, okay. What is it? I want to show you something. What do you want to show me? That is it. But you know what I'm supposed to do? Oh my God, that's awesome. Do it again. I'll call you back. You're supposed to appreciate what your children do. They live for that. They desire that more than anything else. I have 3 girls, and you know the difference between girls and boys. Boys can't sit still, and girls can't stop this, right? So I pick my girls up from school. One's in 1st grade, the other's in 3rd grade. I pick them up from school. It's a 25-minute ride back home, and what are they doing the whole way? You know what happened today in class? We colored a dinosaur, and we did this and that, and I was coloring it purple, but I decided to put in some green, and they're going on and on and on and on and on. And they cannot help themselves, and they cannot stop, and I have to pay attention and listen. I have to listen and say, oh, what about blue? No, I did only a little bit blue, right? I have to pay attention. And you know why I'm saying all of this? Just one more story on the side, just to wake you up a little. I share this story all the time. My oldest daughter, my eldest, Husna, when she was younger, she was really into finger painting. So she'd dip her hands in paint and just making a big old mess, right? And she brings this big cardboard to me, and it's a big blob of blue. I don't see anything, right? And she says, Abba, look what I made. And I'm sitting there going, that's awesome, a mountain. And she says, no, it's Mama. And I was like, oh, don't tell Mama. But the point I'm trying to make is they live for your approval. Live for it. But those of you that have children that are teenagers, do they get in the car when you pick them up from school and they can't stop telling you about what happened? Does that happen? Now, you know what happened in school today? My teacher said this and that and the other, and I got an A on my paper. Nope. They're quiet. And you're trying to know, how was your day? It was okay. So what'd you do? Something. Where are you going today? Somewhere.
They don't talk. Getting them to talk is like an interrogation at a police station. And they're not saying anything to you. And while trying to ask them questions, they're texting their friend, my dad is asking too many questions today. You know? I don't know what's up. Did you tell him something? What I'm trying to get at is very simple. At a younger age, your children crave your attention. And when they get older, you will crave their attention. But if you don't give them attention when they're tiny, when they come to you with their toys and you say, go in your room, I'm watching the news. The game is on, could you take him please? Come on, I had a long day at work. I don't want to deal with this right now. I have friends over. It's embarrassing. Go to sleep. Go get out of here. When you have this attitude towards your children, like they're an obstacle in your path, your job was at work. When you come home, you're on vacation. No, buddy, your job began when you came home. That's your job. What you did over there is just to fulfill your real job at home. Be a father. I'm talking to the men here. Be a father. Spend time with your children. They're not just there so you can put them in school and you come home from work, you just want to go to sleep. You don't want to bother with anybody. You don't want to talk to them. And actually the easiest way to not talk to them is get them an iPod Touch and an iPhone, and get them a computer and a laptop in their own room with high-speed internet, so you don't even have to look at their face. They could just be in their room all day Facebooking, finding themselves a new set of parents online. Seriously. Be a father, be a mother. Don't replace your motherhood and your fatherhood with these things, because if you do, when they become independent, you know what happens to most parents? To most of you, your children, they only see you as a bunch of dollar signs walking around. And the only time they come and talk to you, Dad, can I have $5? Actually, nobody asks for $5 anymore, right? It's 20s nowadays. And I know youth, they haven't seen money that small. They don't know fives. Can I have $20? Can I go to the mall? Can you drop me off? Can I go over to my friend's house? Can I do this? Can I do that? Can I do the other? When they want something, they come to you. Otherwise, you don't see them. And when they get to a certain age where they are old enough to make their own little bit of money, guess what? You're not going to see them at all. Because your cash register is no longer relevant. That's no longer relevant. If this is the relationship you are setting yourself up for, you're headed for destruction. We got to change this now. And the way to change it, and it's going to be hard for a lot of you to implement this, but we have to be friends with our children. We have to be their best friends. They should enjoy hanging out with us the most, the parents.
You tell me, there are 4 kinds of people Allah talks about that He has favored. أُولَٰئِكَ الَّذِينَ أَنْعَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِمْ مِنْ النَّبِيِّينَ. I'll tell you the first one, النَّبِيِّينَ. Anybody know the other 3? As-Siddiqeen, Ash-Shuhada, As-Salihin, وَحَسُنَ أُولَٰئِكَ رَفِيقًا. The prophets, those who confirm the truth in the prophets, the martyrs and the righteous. 4 levels of people that basically earn Jannah. What is the lowest of these 4 levels? The righteous, As-Salihin. Now listen to this. وَمَنْ صَلَحَ مِنْ آبَائِهِمْ. And whoever was righteous from among their ancestors. Salaha implies here the lowest level qualified to enter Jannah. This person made it to Adan. Their family member is at the lowest level. They're at least righteous, so they made it into Jannah. And Allah says, because of you, they get upgraded. They get upgraded. You could be with them. Now here's the thing. I like to compare this to dunya. You know, in dunya, you go into make a booking at a hotel, right? So you have a lot of family coming, you make a booking at a hotel, you get the executive suite on the top floor, the really big baller room that they charge a lot of money for. They only have like 3 rooms like that. You get one of those rooms. And the rest of your family has 5, 6 rooms on one of those economy peasant class floors. Right? They have those. So you go to the concierge and say, I'd like to be with my family. What are they going to do? Put all of them in executive suites or put you down in the economy class? What are they going to do? They're going to put you down in economy class. What does Allah do here? You're in the executive class Jannah, the premium package. They're in the economy package Jannah. What does Allah do? He upgrades them. وَمَنْ صَلَحَ مِنْ آبَائِهِمْ. And then Allah says آبَائِهِمْ. It's such a beautiful thing. It's this amazing reunion. Not like the ones we have at Eid. The reunions we have at Eid get complicated. Not like those. These are actually happy occasions. Right? What happens here is, you know, for example, before I was born, my mother's dad, my grandfather, had passed away. I never met him. I only heard stories about him from my mother. Right? There are people who tell me my great-grandfather was a muhaddith.
4 generations ago he was this or he was that. Or my great-great-great-grandfather fought the British in this war. And we have stories recorded in history and we're from his legacy, etc., etc. You don't just get to meet your dad and your granddad. You get to meet your ancient ancestors. I mean, I come from Pakistan, and I know for a fact, probably somewhere up in my ancestry, my ancient ancestors were Hindu. Right? Islam came to them. They're not like born into Islam. They were Hindu. And there was some Hindu back in the day that became a Muslim. And because of that one guy's decision, his children's children down to me are saying La ilaha illallah. I'd like to meet that guy. My great-great-granddad. How was it? Who told you about Islam? It'd be amazing. It would be an amazing thing to have that reunion. وَانْصَلَحَ مِنْ آبَائِهِمْ وَأَزْوَاجِهِمْ and their spouses. And by the way, when you meet your spouse in Jannah, it's not like meeting your spouse here. So don't get depressed. Right? Right? Oh, you get to meet your wife? Jannah, I thought it was... You're here too? No, not like that. Am I in the right place? No. Not like that. All the ghil, all the ill feelings, all the things that you find annoying about your spouse. We love our spouses. But there are things that we don't get along with. There are things that are causes of friction. Allah gets rid of all of those things. The only thing left is love and affection and appreciation. That's all that's left. And then you meet your spouse and you're like, wow, why wouldn't we like this in dunya? Because it's Jannah. You can't have that in dunya. You get that in dunya for the first week of marriage. That's it. After that, the flight lands and you're on planet Earth. Okay. وَذُرِّيَّاتِهِمْ and their offspring. Imagine right now, alhamdulillah, I have small children. And I don't know how long I'll be on this earth. But I pray that they raise their kids to say La ilaha illallah and live by it. And they raise their children and they raise their children. And perhaps out of these children, someone will be a great hero of Islam. Someone who carries the message of Islam. And he brings people closer to Allah's deen. Someone that the ummah is proud of from my children down the road. And I don't even know, this happens 300, 400 years after I'm gone. And I get to meet my great-great-great-great-grandkids. That I could never have imagined. Wow, you came from my daughters, sons, daughters, all the way down. So you get to meet your ancestry all the way up, and you get to meet your ancestry all the way down. In Jannah, there's this reunion happening. It's a lot of people, right? That's a lot of people to meet.
Taqwa is mentioned a couple of hundred times in the Quran. A couple of hundred times Allah talks about taqwa. If Allah talks about taqwa that many times, actually, let me not finish that sentence. How many people here have teenage kids? Teenage kids? Okay. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Irving is about to erupt. Give it 5 years. All these little monkeys we got running around, they're all going to be teenagers. Those are scary times. Those are scary times. My kids and your kids. The average age here is very young. But give it 5 years. Oh my goodness. Then they're going to be teenagers. And people are, when I say how many people have teenagers, there's going to be people crying. Look, I have teenagers. How many times you got to tell your teenager to do the homework?
100 times.
Oh my God. Do your homework, do your homework, do your homework. Did you do your homework? Did you do homework? You're going to do it, right? Okay. Just, hey, by the way, do it. Why do you have to tell them so many times? If I came over at your house as a guest and you keep telling your child, do your homework, I stop you and I say, why do you tell him so many times? And you say, what do you say?
They don't listen.
Because he doesn't do it. He doesn't listen. And then I have to say, you know what? You're the father, you're the mother, you know him better. You know him better. So the fact that you're repeating so much, you must know what you're doing. Allah repeats taqwa a couple of hundred times in the Quran. Does that tell you something? Who's he talking to? You and me? Ittaqullah, 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 la'allakum tattaqun, la'allahum yattaqun, fattaquhu. He keeps saying it, he keeps saying it, he keeps saying it. What does that mean logically? We don't really do it. If we did it, how many times do you have to mention it? Done. Done. And let me give you a proof. Allah says fast in Ramadan. One time in Quran. One time. Muslims fast generally or no? Oh man. He didn't have to tell us 100 times, fast in Ramadan, fast in Ramadan, fast in Ramadan. It's done. Finish. Done deal. He says have taqwa hundreds of times. So which one is harder, fasting in Ramadan or taqwa? Oh, taqwa is hard. Taqwa is hard. Now, I told you there are two ayat. There are ayat about Ramadan itself. But there's an ayah before it about fasting. There's an ayah before about fasting. So before I finish the ayah about Ramadan, I want to tell you something about fasting itself. Allah says, كُتِبَ عَلَيْكُمُ الصِّيَامِ كَمَا كُتِبَ عَلَى الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِكُمْ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَتَّقُونَ. You were given fasting so you could get taqwa. Basically, the premise of the ayah is, you can develop fasting, hopefully, you can develop taqwa, hopefully by the act of fasting. What's the connection between me not drinking and eating and developing taqwa? Not drinking and eating is something physical. Yes? You feel the effects of it physically or spiritually? Physically. But taqwa is something physical or spiritual? So Allah says do something physical and you will have spiritual effects. Isn't that what He's saying? So we have to understand, how can this be? We have to figure this out. Listen, if you fasted before, and all of you have, it's a hot day. You're with your coworker, and he's gulping like gulp, 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 like next to you. And you're looking at him drink, and your throat is begging. Your throat is screaming at you. Just take some water. You're starving. You're starving, and you're, right before iftar time, right before you're sitting at the table, you can hear the fries frying, and the fruit chart is being put on the table. You're looking at it. Actually, you're looking at that and the clock, and you're looking at that and the clock. It's like the playoffs. In the last few seconds, that's what you're doing. It's time, right? It's in your hand, it's here. It's time, right? It's time, right? It's time, right? Oh no, that clock is off. Oh God, I hate that. But you know what? You're in anticipation. But your stomach is hungry before the bell rings, or no? Your stomach says, I want food, give me. Your throat says, I want drink, give me. But your heart says, hey, throat, shut up. Not until Maghrib. Your stomach says, I want food, and you tell your heart that fears Allah more, that heart becomes stronger and learns to tell the belly, hey, no, not until Maghrib. There's a fight going on inside you. For 30 days there's a fight going on inside me. And for 30 days my heart wins. For 30 days I beat my stomach, and I beat my throat, and I beat my eyes, and I beat my ears. I beat them. The ear says, come on, it's a couple of songs, no big deal. Just one movie, the eye says. No, it's Ramadan. Even those of you that are like addicted to movies, you'd cut it down in Ramadan. No bro, it's Ramadan bro, I can't do it. You guys, some of you guys go to parties and stuff. Not the halal kind. Not those kind. But in Ramadan you cut it down. Your feet say, hey, come on, let's go. Your hand gets jittery with the car keys. You say, no, it's Ramadan. Your heart says, no, Ramadan. We're off duty this month. Not going to do it. There's a battle going on inside you, and for 30 days Allah gives you the power to win. For 30 days. And if anybody's ever joined a workout program, lose weight in 30 days, get ripped in 45 days, become a monster in 80 days, whatever. Whatever it may be. What happens to most people? They watch the first episode, come on, stay with me. What happens after that? I need a donut. They're done after one day. Do Muslims quit fasting after one day? No. They stay 30 days. If they just understood why they're fasting, because my belief is most Muslims don't understand why they're fasting. They forgot that they're fasting in order to build taqwa. If they remembered that, if they understood that, if I remembered that, then my heart has been trained for 30 days to defeat the rest of my temptations. All of them. I have my heart, but the taqwa of Allah has won for 30 days. That's what you call a training program.
I don't really call this teaching either. It's just a conversation, really. That's all this is. And as part of this food for thought, I want to share with you a simple example. I see a lot of desis in the house. Desis? Show of hands. Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. Okay. All right. I'm desi too. Okay. So we have our weddings. You give an advice to a family, don't have an elaborate wedding. Don't take a loan out of $30, $40, $50, $60,000 to pull off this insane wedding, this ridiculous party that's going to have like 8 different sessions. It's like the playoffs. Every day is a major event, right? There's the Mehndi part 1, Mehndi part 2, reception and a half, and then, then this thing, then that thing, and this shower and that shower. Just nikah is just nikah walima done, right? Keep it simple. But no, we gotta go all out. And why do we have to go all out? Because your cousin had a better wedding. And if we don't have that kind of wedding, how are we gonna show our face? What's your uncle gonna say? What's your grandmother gonna say? What's this one gonna say? What's that one gonna say? What people are going to say drives you so insane that you put yourself in insane amounts of credit card debt. And this family, this new family that has just started, starts their life in debt. And they're getting, as presents, they're getting like 30 blenders, $100 gift cards. And on top of that, they inherit something they're paying off for 2-3 years. No wonder, one of the main causes of early divorce is financial distress. And you're starting a married life with financial distress. Who put that burden on you? And look at the sunnah of Allah's Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Easy, straightforward. A really good friend of mine, Imam Isa from Roosevelt, Long Island. I was at his masjid one time for Asr. I was waiting for Maghrib, and his brother walks in. Sheikh, I got to do a nikah. He goes, okay. He goes, all right, can I come after Maghrib? He was like, fine. So I was like, oh, I got to watch this. I got to see this. After Maghrib, a couple of people walked into the masjid, maybe 8 altogether. The guy himself, the guy getting married, came in with an apron dirtied with blood because he sacrificed his own animal for the walima that they're going to have after Isha. Within 45 minutes, the affair was over. We hugged each other, celebrated, and done. That's a wedding. Man, that's how simple our deen is. It's a thing of beauty. It's a thing of beauty. But when we complicate it on ourselves and we bring all these problems upon ourselves, stress, nastiness, how many fights and arguments you remember happened at the time of the wedding? How many arguments? How much nastiness? This one said this, they said you didn't get us a hotel room. And we didn't get a first, chair on the first row. And that one was saying something about your dress and all this dumb stuff. We make our lives hard with. And Allah says the intention, the objective of these rules, make your life easy. You were made weak. One time I was talking to a bunch of youth about forgiveness. Just a small reminder about just make regular istighfar and ask Allah to forgive you, etc. And one brother came up to me afterwards and said, can I talk to you in private? And I said, sure. So we go in the corner and he says, bro, look, I've done a lot of messed up stuff. I mean, I'll ask for forgiveness because you're saying, but I'm pretty sure God's not going to forgive what I did. And I was like, well, I'm pretty sure He will. He goes, no, bro, you don't know what I did, bro. I'm bad. I was like, I know you're bad. You're pretty bad. I can appreciate that. But know that even, you don't have to tell me how bad you are, and you don't have to list to me the crimes you've committed, so I go, oh snap, you're right. You're going to hell. You don't have to do that to me. But know that Allah Azza wa Jalla knows your sins, and has forgiven people that have transgressed far more than you in the past. Not only that, people that Allah knew, Allah always knows what's going to happen in the future, yes? So Allah knew Fir'aun will die a kafir, yes? Allah already knew Fir'aun is going to kill babies. He's going to, can you imagine that? I mean, just picture that idea. He's going to kill babies. How evil does a person have to be? Not one, by the thousands, every other year. Not to mention the innocent people. This is his humanitarian crimes that even an atheist would say Fir'aun should die. Even a human rights activist would say Fir'aun should die. He should suffer 1,000 deaths. This is above and beyond what he says about himself, declaring himself God. Allah already knows what kind of evil person this is. It's hard to match that kind of evil. It's hard. We come pretty close in the Muslim world sometimes, but it's hard. May Allah help the Muslims in the Arab Spring. But regardless, I want to make a point. When Allah Azza wa Jalla sent Musa alayhi salam to talk to Fir'aun, He says, لَعَلَّهُ يَزَّكَّى. Maybe he'll get purified by benefiting from the reminder. Allah puts hope in Musa alayhi salam when talking to Fir'aun, even though Allah already knows where he's going to end up. He already knows. But you're not allowed to give up hope on people. And they themselves, even as terrible as he is, Allah knows he still has the potential. He is also not at the point of no return. He can still make the choice. He can still make the choice. SubhanAllah. Not even giving up on Fir'aun, who's left? Who's left? I met a mother not too long ago. She came to me, a Muslim mother. Very religious, very devout mother. And she has two sons. One of them very religious, the other one, let's just not describe it, right? So she comes to me at the end of a seminar on Surat Ar-Rahman, of all things. And she says, brother, I can't make dua for my other son. I can't do it. I've taken him out of my heart. He's no longer my son. He parties, he goes to clubs, he has a girlfriend or two, and he's on drugs, and he doesn't listen to me. As he hasn't prayed in 2 or 3 years. My other son is a hafiz of Quran, and he's doing this and that. I don't have any hope in that other son. I've taken it out of my heart. And first thing, you know what I told her? MashaAllah, no. I said, how dare you? Lady, Allah made Allah made him your son. Allah created that connection. You are not in any position to cut a connection that Allah Himself made. The only day on which connections are cut is the day of judgment. وَتَقَطَّعَتْ بِهِمُ الْأَسْبَابِ. Until then, you are bonded to your son. And until the command of Allah comes, you cannot cut yourself off. And she says, but what about this? Ibrahim, Nuh alayhi salam, he was trying to save his son and Allah told him no. It's like, Allah told you? You're going to cite that revelation came to Nuh alayhi salam to cut his relationship from his son. 950 point something years, he's still hoping with his son. And the only time he stops is when Allah tells him to stop. So your 6 months of frustration compared to 950 years of Nuh alayhi salam? What's wrong with you? You can't do that.
Before you open your mouth, before you start yelling at your uncles, right? Before you start giving them the khutbah, you come and hear the khutbah and you say, I'm going to do this at home. That's a good point. My dad needs to hear this one. This is going to make a great point of argument, right? A lot of excited young people do that. They discover the religion, they hold on to it, and they use it to debate with family, right? When you do that, you're basically abandoning what the messengers did. You have to have a little credibility first. When you turn to the religion, you become the best son, the best daughter, the best husband, the best wife. Speaking of the best husband, I want to tell you a story. A really good one on this subject, making people conscious of Allah. You don't just invite people to have taqwa of Allah with your words. Your character says a lot. A friend of mine, he became a friend actually on a short trip, told me about how he was raised in a Muslim family. He's Guyanese origin, and in Guyana there's Muslims that are committed, and there's Muslims that have mixed their religion with Hinduism, and some Muslims that are just Muslim by name, and they've completely almost lost everything of the religion. They almost know nothing of the religion. And he was of the latter type. He almost knew nothing about the religion. So as he was growing up in New York, he almost completely just wasn't even practically Muslim. He used to, get into fights with his mother. He went to jail a couple of times. He was in gangs, all kinds of stuff. Later on in life, he decides he wants to, he's looking for God. And he knows at least by name he's Muslim. I think his name was Muhammad or something, right? By name he's Muslim, so he should look into what religion first? Islam. So he starts looking into Islam, starts going to the masjid, starts learning how to pray again, becomes more serious. At the time he was, he had married his girlfriend who was Christian or whatever. Right? And he starts becoming more serious about the religion. And then his wife notices that he's praying. And the beer is gone from the fridge. And he's not going out with his drinking buddies. And he doesn't go to Atlantic City on the weekends. He's a different guy. Something's changed, And he doesn't say anything to her. Just on his own, he didn't yell at her, didn't tell her to, put a hijab on or whatever, lose all her friends. He didn't do any of that. He went to a scholar, and I make dua for the scholar that he went to. He didn't tell me his name, but he said, I went to my scholar, and I told him, look, I'm becoming more and more aware of Islam, but my wife, of course, is a Christian, and she's not even a practicing Christian. She's just kind of what I was before. She's exactly like I was before. How do I help her? He said, don't tell her a thing about Islam, just be the best husband you can be, and to do that, just study what kind of a husband the Prophet was. Just do that. Don't worry about what you need to tell her. Worry about being the best possible husband, and that is the sunnah of the Messenger ﷺ. The Messenger would buy his wife gifts. The Messenger would joke with his wife. The Messenger would spend time with the mother of the believers. The Messenger would praise and compliment the mother of the believers. I'm mentioning that on purpose, guys. He would compliment them.
You guys eat the first morsel of food in iftar, like, And the wife says, what? You go, nothing. Right? You drink, some of the desis here drink the first little sip of lassi. Look, I know the economy's bad, but are we really that short on sugar? Or, you know? Very painful for you to say a compliment. I understand, especially for those of you that come from my original country, Pakistan. For you to give a compliment to your wife can cause an ulcer. So I understand, but it's a sunnah, guys. Good food. That's amazing. You know? And our wives, the sisters are so used to hearing nasty things from us, that when we say nice things, they get freaked out. Like if the husband just says, you look really nice today. She goes, what do you want? Like, she gets worried, like it's up to, you know, we gotta fix that. That's a problem. It can't be healthy. So he starts doing these things with his wife. And in the beginning, he used to argue with her sometimes about Islam and tell her how Christianity doesn't make sense. How can 3 be 1 and 1 be 3? All those kinds of arguments, you've heard them before, right? And none of those would work with his wife. None of them. He's like, no, I'm a Christian and that's it. Jesus is in my heart. Leave me alone. 3 years go by. He stops talking to her about Christianity and how dumb it is or whatever. Stops debating with her. He's just being what he can be as the best husband. And one day he's making maghrib and his wife joins him in salat. And he's in salat. It messes up his salat, like, you know, like, right? What's happening here? Right? Yeah.
Can we give a break for after like 5 minutes?
Yeah, we can give a break in 5 minutes, sure.
For 10 minutes because they have to move the...
Sure. So, he gives, you know, after salat, he looks at her and he goes, what happened? And she goes, what? Nothing. And he goes, no, you have to tell me what happened. And of course she says what pretty much any wife would say, it's complicated. Alright? But eventually she tells him, and she tells him, look, I've never seen a husband like you. My dad wasn't like that. I've never seen a father like you. The way you are with our child, I've never seen a father be like that. It's so beautiful. This religion can't be wrong. It can't be wrong. This is ittaqullah. You see how aware you are of Allah in your life. Right? It's not how many ayat you've memorized, how many ahadith you know, how much knowledge you can spit out at someone, how many quotes from scholars you can deliver. It's not about that. How are you living your life? People can see that. You're calling people to the taqwa of Allah. حَقَّ تُقَاتِهِ وَلَا تَمُوتُنَّ إِلَّا وَأَنْتُمْ
سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله سبحان الله والحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله